Guys, and welcome back to Morgs Menu. So today we are back with our fancy apron and we're going to be doing another copycat recipe. This time we're going to be doing copycat Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich, french fries, and their famous chocolate frosty. I'm really excited for this. We've tried this recipe before and it turned out really good, so I'm really excited to do it again, film it, and show you guys how it all comes out. So if you're interested in seeing how all that pulls together, keep on watching. So the first thing we're going to start on today is actually the french fries. I found that french fries get a lot crispier when I do them in my air fryer if I do soak them in water beforehand. So we're going to go ahead and get those started because the longer you soak them, really, the better they can be. I've done it where I just do it for like 10 minutes and it helped, but really if you can do it for like 30 to 40 minutes, it's really going to make the crispiness of the fries a lot better. So we're gonna go ahead and get them soaking in water. So basically for the french fries, very simple recipe. All you need is just some regular old potatoes, a little bit of avocado oil, and then salt, of course. So all we're gonna do is chop the potatoes in kind of like fry-like size. Basically what I like to do is kind of like cut off the ends just so that the fries are all kind of like squared off at the end. You really don't have to do that, but it kind of makes them look more like fries in my opinion. And so we'll just cut those up, throw them in some water. We'll let them soak for like 20 minutes, pour the water out, then put fresh water in there, let them soak for another 20 minutes or so. And then they'll be ready to go into the air fryer. Alright, so here they are, just covered in enough water just to kind of reach the top of them. As you saw, I like to kind of cut some of the little peeling off the sides. That's really kind of just to get them more like restaurant-like. You can certainly keep those on if you want to. I just kind of cut them a little bit off. I didn't like go through the whole process of fully peeling them, but just cut them a little bit off. Because normally with Wendy's, it's not like a potato wedge or something like that where you see a lot of skin on it. So now that the fries are soaking in water, we'll go ahead and move on to the chicken because we're actually going to let that sit as well. So last time I did this, it turned out really good. It was honestly just a really good, a little bit spicy chicken sandwich, but it didn't scream like the normal Wendy's batter to me, so I wanted to switch it up just a little bit. So for the ingredients, what we're going to use is some Frank's Red Hot Buffalo hot sauce, a little bit of milk, really any kind of milk you can use. If you have buttermilk, that's probably best, but we're just going to use what we have. We're going to use both whole wheat flour and breadcrumbs. And then for seasonings, we've got, of course, some salt and pepper, smoked paprika, garlic powder, and some cayenne pepper, as well as a big chicken breast. So what I did last time is I did kind of a dry coating of flour, then dipped it in the combo of hot sauce and milk, and then dipped it back into flour, and I excluded the breadcrumbs. The recipe itself said to just do double flour, but I'm thinking that the breadcrumbs may bring a different kind of component and texture to it, so it's a little more similar to what you're used to with the Wendy's chicken sandwich. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that. I'm also gonna season the flour and the breadcrumbs this time. Last time I only seasoned one layer of it, and again, the seasonings just weren't like that punch that you get from a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. So I wanna put spices in both the flour and the breadcrumbs. And last time I had a little bit of an issue of the breading coming off one of the chicken breasts. One of the sandwiches did perfectly fine, and then the other one, it just kind of came off on one side. And so I looked up a couple tricks to try and prevent that from happening. So what we're going to do is completely pat down the chicken breast before we start seasoning it with anything. And then once everything is coated in the flour, hot sauce, breadcrumbs. Then we're going to put it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. Let it sit, let everything kind of bind together, and then take it out of the fridge, let it sit on the counter for about 15 minutes so that it gets back to room temperature. I read a bunch of different articles and it said you can either just leave it on the counter or leave it in the fridge, so we're kind of just going to combine and do both. Go ahead and show you how I do everything. The exact measurements of all the ingredients for everything that I'm doing is going to be in the description box down below, as well as the original recipe that I'm following for all of this. But again, I'm making modifications, so I'll leave my steps as well on any changes that I made. So we'll go ahead and get started on the chicken so then we can throw it in the fridge. So here is the chicken all coated in the breading. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and put this in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes and then pull it out for about 10 to 15 more minutes to get back a little more room temperature before we actually put it in the air fryer. Alrighty, so the chicken has been in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes and out now. It's getting back to room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and preheat my air fryer at 375 degrees, let that preheat for 2 or 3 minutes, and then go ahead and throw it in there. All I'm going to do is spray the air fryer basket with a little bit of cooking spray, and then once the chicken is in there, spray them on top. It helps them get a little bit crispier and brown on the outside. So I'm going to cook it for about 7 or 8 minutes on each side. When I tested this the other day with this very similar size chicken breast, that's all it took for it to get to the temperature it needed to be for, you know, safe eating and all of that. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Once these are done, we're just going to set them to the side, put them probably in my toaster oven just to kind of keep them warm. And then we'll go ahead and cook the fries. They take not long at all, so the chicken will be fine kind of waiting for the fries to be done. Alright, so our chicken is officially done. It's nice and brown on the outside. So now we're going to move on and go ahead and cook the fries up. As you saw, I just dried them off with a paper towel, toss them with just a little bit under a tablespoon of avocado oil and however much salt what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and get those started in the air fryer, but I wanted to go ahead and talk about how I'm going to be making the Frosty. So this is a really simple recipe. All you need is some either vanilla ice cream, or we just have this vanilla frozen yogurt, so we're just going to use that. Some milk, as well as some Nesquik. So I'm gonna whip that together while the fries are cooking, but as I've mentioned before, the air fryer is so loud, I needed to tell you about this beforehand. So we're gonna cook these fries in our air fryer again at 375 for about 5 to 7 minutes. Pause it, shake it around, flip anything that needs to be flipped. Cook them for another 5 to 7 minutes depending on how crispy you want them. And I'll work on the Frosty while these are cooking so that everything can come out at the same time. Alright, so here is the final product of everything. So we've got our fries here. They came out nice and crispy. We have our sandwich here with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. And then our Frosty back here. Now, as you can tell, it did not make the right amount of servings that I was expecting it to. The recipe said it was supposed to be 4 servings, so I did half since we only needed 2. And it only made like less than 1 serving. So I don't really know. Definitely do the full recipe if you just have 2 people so that you can have a decent sized Frosty. But I just taste tested it and it tastes exactly like the Wendy's Frosty. It's so, so good. Definitely recommend the recipe. Just don't believe the serving size. But overall, this turned out really, really good. I tasted a little bit of the breading on the chicken. A little piece came off when I was touching it with the tongs, and it tastes so much better with the breadcrumbs and the extra seasoning, so definitely recommend that. I'll link exactly what I did this time down below. Definitely follow that over following the double flour method. This turned out much better. It also stuck on the meat a lot better as far as the breading. You know, I mentioned a little bit fell off, but honestly it was my fault. I grabbed it wrong with the tongs and I tore it off. It didn't come off on its own. I really recommend all 3 of these recipes. So we're going to go ahead and eat this up. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any recommendations on other copycat recipes that you want me to do in the future, leave those in comments down below. If you're new here and haven't yet subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the videos that I post on Wednesdays and Sundays. Thanks again for watching Morgs Menu and hope you have a great day. Bye guys.